I traveled from Washington, D.C. to the Aspen Ideas Festival in Colorado, where Wajahat is a keynote speaker. We talk about life as a Muslim American and the discrimination that comes along with it.
You're asked as an American Muslim to apologize for the criminal actions of a criminal minority committed in countries you never visited. And in perpetuity, you're indicted, convicted, and sentenced for the crimes of a minority. And 1.6 billion Muslims in 1,400 years of Islamic civilization is erased and put under the rubric of good Muslim, bad Muslim. Bad Muslim or potential bad Muslim is everyone who is ISIS or ISIS-y, and a good Muslim and your only utility as an American as a Muslim is if you're fighting ISIS. Can you imagine that? How limiting that might be?
I believe we can and should fight for the earth and humanity side by side.
Wajahat is a journalist, attorney, and a TED speaker and an award-winning playwright.
Is going to be a major problem.
He is the son of immigrants from Pakistan and a former consultant to the U.S. State Department. He wrote the play The Domestic Crusaders, the first major play about Muslim Americans after 9/11. He also co-authored the investigative report Fear Inc., the roots of the Islamophobia network in America. So it's clear you're a Muslim.
I'm of a Muslimi persuasion.
Exactly, and yet funny. And I would think, in some respects, there's got to be this boiling rage inside.
You never know. I might be. What will trigger me?
But I mean, how do you balance that?
Cold falafel.
But you know, you and I had a chance to talk before we started doing this conversation about, you know, this uphill struggle. I mean, telling your story, getting out there, because of the stereotypical notions that seem to flourish.
I mean, talk about uphill. Literally here at Aspen, you know, we're not.
Doesn't get any more uphill than that.
We're not with the gatekeepers. We're with the people who make the gates, the creme de la creme. And even here, and we were discussing this, right? The creme de la creme, ballers of the industry, titans, billionaires. The type of conversations I've had with people, well-intentioned, sincere, but it's remedial conversations. Literally stuck at, where are the moderate Muslims? Where are you guys? You guys are bearded unicorns. Can I touch you? Are you moderate? Are you safe? I've never met someone like you before. And I'm not that special. Like, I'm very yogurty compared, like, you know, there are millions like us. And that just shows you the disconnect between the reality of American Muslims and the perception. The reality, according to all the stats, is we're integrated as a community, the most diverse religious communities in America, been here since the 16th century, African-American slaves, economically well off. Muslim American women are the most educated women of any religious group, just behind Jewish American women. What's the perception? Rage boy, bearded, angry, brown, anti-Western, anti-woman, anti-America, anti-deodorant, you know, about to be triggered. Anything could set us off. And it is exhausting, especially after 9/11, that you're always asked to be a Muslim fireman, number one, and you're always asked to be a walking Muslim Wikipedia. On the drop of a dime, talk about Islam and Sharia and Quran and Hakim Olajuwon and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and falafel and hummus and Hamas and fatwa and fatwas and Bollywood, even Bollywood. And you know, like, you know, honestly, the exhaustion drains you of so much of your resources, where it comes to a point where it's not rage so much. It's like, man, should I just tap out? Can I just be seen as an American writer who happens to be Muslim?
But you can't tap out.
But you can't tap, and there you go. In this day and age, you can make a choice to tap out. But in this day and age, look what's happening in the world. Like, our president is tweeting nonsense about Muslims. Literally tweeting hate from the pulpit, the most powerful pulpit in America, commander-in-chief. I think Islam hates us. Who's Islam? I've never met Islam before. Who's the West? And I have kids. And you think about the future, and you think about America, and you're like, will the American dream be an achievable reality for my children? Or will it be an American nightmare?
On September 11, 2001, nearly 3,000 people were killed when hijacked airplanes hit the World Trade Center in New York, the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and an empty field in Pennsylvania. While many in the U.S. were impacted that day, life for both Arab and Muslim Americans changed drastically. Did 9/11, because you brought it up, did it change everything? Or was it bad before?
It's a very good question. For my generation, 9/11 is a fork in the timeline, a fork in the road. It was a baptism by fire for my generation. I was a 20-year-old senior at UC Berkeley, graduating undeclared. Failure, remember that? And I eventually did English major.
On your way to a Pulitzer.
Yeah, on my way to more failure, English major. And I was a leader in the Muslim Student Association. And the joke I always say is, if Muslims did know about 9/11, I would have joined the Indian Student Association, right? And at the age of 20, you're asked now to be the cultural ambassador of 1.6 billion people and a community, people who are terrified, Muslim women wearing hijab, didn't want to come out in the streets. And it was a game changer for us, right? I could literally tell you pre-9/11, post-9/11. The seeds of what we're witnessing now, the rise of the hate, the stereotypes, are embedded in a narrative that goes back decades. Before 9/11, Muslims were the brown Middle Eastern bouillabaisse of a threat over there that Chuck Norris conveniently kills. It's Saddam Hussein, it's Lebanon, Palestine, some Middle Eastern-y, browny, whatever. Post 9/11, the threat became civilizational. Islam versus the West. And whoever looks Muslimy is a threat. And that is not just Muslims. That's Sikhs, Arab Christians, Persian Jews, Hindus. The first hate crime after 9/11 was Balbir Singh, a Sikh gas station owner in Mesa, Arizona. And so this civilizational conflict, the globalization of this narrative, is literally the propaganda and recruitment of ISIS. The West is at war with Islam, and extremists here say Islam is at war with the West. It's a brand new ballgame.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
No ban, no wall. No ban, no.
Shortly after becoming the U.S. president, Donald Trump signed a controversial executive order that's been politically labeled a Muslim ban. It restricts people from 6 majority Muslim countries from traveling into the United States. In early 2020, 6 more countries were added to that list. Trump says the bans are needed for national security. You brought up ISIS. One of the things you brought up in the conversation earlier, in one of the panel discussions today, was Donald Trump. Is Donald Trump the enemy of ISIS, or almost a secret weapon in a sense, in that he's really kind of helping to drive their narrative in a way, isn't he?
Donald Trump is an Eid, Christmas, Hanukkah gift to ISIS. I'm sure when Donald Trump won, ISIS sent him emojis with a thumbs up. And I say this, look, it's some dark humor, but Donald Trump has subsidized his entire campaign on the threat of the other. His first 30-second ad that dropped last November focused on 2 major issues: the Muslim ban, the Mexican wall. They are a threat. Zero-sum game. They're coming to get you. I will make you safe again. Islam hates us. Radical Islamic terrorism. We need extreme Muslim vetting. I'm open to a Muslim registry. I have seen the tapes of Muslims in New Jersey celebrating the 9/11 terror attacks. No one else has, but just like he has also met the 3 to 5 million illegal aliens who voted for Clinton, and he has also seen Obama personally wiretap Trump Towers. I'm just joking. That's fake news. It literally is the flip side of ISIS propaganda and recruitment, because the number one recruitment of ISIS is, look, the West hates you. Look at you, moderate Muslim, Wajahat Ali, born and raised in America, went to UC Berkeley. Despite all your efforts and your hard work and your assimilation and integration, the commander-in-chief hates you. People hate you. They want to ban you. You'll never be safe enough. You'll never be kosher enough. You'll never be halal enough, ever. No matter how much you trim your beard, or if you eat meatloaf, or if you listen to Meatloaf, you will never be safe enough for these white nationalists.
And we got some Pakistani brothers here also.
One way Wajahat has worked to fight these racist narratives is to empower Muslim entrepreneurs. He's worked with Facebook, Google, and the United Nations to fund and mentor startups around the world.
I built my entire career through the grassroots, through the communities. Stories that are biased for everyone. And I know for a fact that the gatekeepers are overwhelmingly white men. Some of my best friends are white men. And I know for a fact that you need to amplify and empower authentic messengers for the stories to stick and to resonate. And you need authentic messengers to become the protagonists of their own narrative, right? Otherwise, what are you going to get? And working with Facebook, Google, UNDP in particular, We marshaled all those resources to go into places like Malaysia, Indonesia, going to India next month, the Bay Area. And you have all this talent, this youthful passion, these young Muslims who are like, dude, I'm not ISIS. I don't want to fight ISIS. I want to build companies. I want to be my own boss. I want to give friggin' Wi-Fi to my village. I want to combat misogyny. Help me out. And so we literally work with them for them to identify the challenges and for them to come up with these creative, innovative solutions. And then we get Facebook and Google to subsidize it. It's dope.
I want to know who I am. I want to explore.
In 2019, the American television audience saw its first major series featuring a Muslim lead character.
What are your goals for this life?
For this life?
Yeah, before the day of judgment.
Yeah, I'm not really like a big planner. I'm kind of more like an in-the-moment kind of guy.
The millennial comedy called Rami features Egyptian-American Rami Youssef as the star and is based on his own experiences growing up in the U.S.
I have to tell you something, Pai. I've been dating this girl. She's white. A white girl?
In recent years, more positive portrayals of Muslim characters have been cast instead of ones as Muslims being the enemy. Wajahat says representation in mainstream media is necessary, so Muslims are not continually seen as the other.
65% of Americans say they don't know a Muslim, even though we've been in this country for over 400 years. But when you ask them, hey man, I'm your Muslim friend. Oh yeah, you're Muslim. I was thinking about that other guy. I'm like, Osama? He goes, yeah. Because the depiction of Islam and Muslims is personified by Osama, Ayatollah, Saddam Hussein, right? Most people say they don't know anything about Islam and Muslims. What they do get about Islam and Muslims, they get mainly from media, pop culture, and is overwhelmingly negative. So, and I'm Muslim saying this, you can learn from other communities. LGBT example. How do they make huge waves to the point in my lifetime? I mean, I never thought, I grew up in the Bay Area, but if you told me 15 years ago, the number one daytime talk show host in America, the most beloved daytime talk show host would be an out lesbian woman married to a woman. I said, get the hell out of here. A major way they were able to humanize narratives is to literally get in the living rooms through narratives where Will and Grace was on TV. Angels in America, Laramie Project, cultural producers, cultural narratives. And so don't underestimate the power of stories. Facts don't stick with people. You know what sticks with people? Stories and emotions. Empathy, humor, self-reflection, a story that makes you care, and then people see parallels. Oh yeah, my Jewish grandfather went through this also. Oh yeah, my Catholic dad told me stories about how they had crap for building the churches. Oh yeah, before we were mainstreamed, I remember in New York and DC, LGBTQ communities were seen as perverts and child molesters. See what I'm saying? People forget. And so this is a remake in American history. Tag, Muslims are it. I'm not saying it's going to be a tit-for-tat pattern with other communities. We all have our unique challenges. But if other communities have gone through this, the cultural production is a key way for us to humanize our narratives and to appeal to people's better angels. And I really believe most people, and the research shows this, they don't have horns on their head, they don't have tails, they're not born out of the womb hating black people and Muslims. They just don't know any better. And what they see is, I saw television, I saw cops, blacks are criminals, Mexicans are illegals, Muslims are terrorists. Oh wait, an American Muslim cop who's funny and urbane and eats gyro and maybe even drinks? What? I like that character, I like that story. I identify with Khizr Khan. Hassan Minhaj is funny. Wajahat Ali looks like a cooler version of Fareed Zakaria. Okay. That's how you do it.
You are a cooler version. We're going to have to leave it there. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.